Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another podcast. The impact of lack of physical labor on the game. Now, my podcast yesterday, I talked about my other sites. One of them is a Connect Pal site. It's Rom Wills Raw, the Brotherhood, and I'm gonna emphasize the word brotherhood, right? Now that's probably my highest level. That's where I got be doing webinars. I bring people in to do webinars, and that's about that holistic development of men, right? Holistic, not just it. We'll talk about women sometime, but then we'll talk about some business, something else, maybe some politics, something else on there. But it's about developing all the way around. But anyway, right? One of my loyal members, he was asking about that, addressing that issue, because it seemed like nowadays a big thing is just men just being men, just like the stereotypical muscle bound or muscular, hard body at the very least. Got that testosterone going and just in that masculinity. And one of the things he pointed out, one thing we had back in the day, and I know I've said at first the game hasn't really changed, but there are aspects that's changed. That's one thing I got to give, but not in the way people think. People think it's changed just because of social media and stuff, and no. Because at that point, on that level, you still got to interact. But it has changed in types of the men. Because one thing back in the day, men, there weren't as many professional men working in jobs, sitting behind a desk, stuff like that. Many men had to go out. Like when we had the factories, men had to work in these factories. That physical labor, and I really do believe it's made a difference. I don't think people seen it. Like whoever's bright idea it was to move factories out of the country, they might have had another effect. Because think about it, right? You had men, they didn't have to have that much education or something, but if they wanted a job, head to the local factory, right? Maybe do some physical labor, maybe get into construction or something like that, right? But as a result of it, they actually stayed in better shape. A lot of times we talk about the obesity problem with women, but men aren't too far behind. Because, and even the children, anytime the NFL has to do like advertisement, have a campaign just to get kids to go out for an hour, it's crazy. When we were younger, it's pretty much trying to get us to stay in for an hour. You had some neighborhoods and you had some places, depending on where it was, a kid might leave the house in the morning. And you might not see that kid, that family might not see that kid again till dinner time, especially during the summer. Because, the neighborhoods back then, the kids could probably eat at whoever's house and whatnot. So, the parents might not see them. And then, you had you had some latchkey kids back there. They just have a key on to go out and everything, right? So that was a physical thing. But then, when the men can go out and get jobs, physical jobs, they didn't have like the same amount of desk jobs. Now you had some men who were doing like, the more white collar work, but it was still mostly physical labor. And that actually kept somebody in shape. And, with men, like one thing is important for men, especially with testosterone, right? Wait, hold on a second. Sorry about that. But yeah, if like men in general, to generate that, they have to be active. They need to do stuff where they may be lifting, pulling, whatever. Something that taxes their muscles, right? So when I was coming up, you didn't have as many gyms. You had bodybuilders, but they were like very limited. You didn't need a gym on every corner or something like that. Because people were just staying more active. Men especially were staying more active, period. Even growing up, the kids used to be, you still get kids who go outside, they play some ball and stuff, but it was way more prevalent when I was younger, right? So it's like we were developing our masculinity more. Now, move it forward to this day, you got a lot of guys who, we don't have as many factories, right? And also with automation, it's the combination of factories moving overseas and automation. Many men don't really get that much exercise, and they're not doing physical stuff. And, more men becoming professional, and their profession doesn't require them to move stuff around or really tax themselves, is a drain on testosterone. And this ain't just something I'm saying. I mean, there's been studies that's talked about this. Indeed, there's even been studies saying millennials are having less sex, right? Like particularly the men aren't as aggressive about going for it. They still having sex, but not as much. But I don't know if anybody's made a correlation between the lack of physical labor, the lack of being active, and less sex. Because one thing, if a man got testosterone generated, he's bringing it up, he's being active, he's going to be more aggressive about getting women, right? So that's having a big thing, because one of the things, look, and I might hurt some feelings what I'm saying when I say this, but I'm just going to have to keep it a buck. Many women, I've talked to many women, they weren't bashing, they were just being honest. They don't feel that same energy, that same testosterone. I mean, they can smell it, and they don't smell it. They don't get turned on. Like a woman, like if a man has that testosterone going, he got that sweat, women go crazy. But men ain't sweating like they used to, I remember one time I had just moved around some furniture, just moving and stuff, and I walked into a grocery store. I was sweaty, dirty, all of that. Women were going crazy because they were smelling it, right? But men aren't sweating as much. They're not doing as much. They're not taxing their muscles as much. So it has a profound impact on the game. Profound impact. Some social scientists might actually study it. It might actually be a study on it. I haven't really checked. But you can see it. You can see it. Indeed. That's why even now you got some young cats who are like, look at an older cat like in their 50s or something. You're an old head or something. Yet the older cat could probably bench more and is probably physically tougher. Right? No joke. I ain't trying to be funny. That's because that old cat might have had to actually work for a living, who uses hands or something. Which incidentally, here's some game for y'all. Callous hands actually turn on a woman. Think about it. Very few women just want some like really clean hands. Some women will look at your fingers and stuff as long as your fingernails clean, but they'll look at your hands. It's like some women turned on by that blue collar type of cat, moving something, fixing something or something. And really, it's not they turned on by the job or the money. They turned on by what this person does. I had someone on my private site, they would they work in a warehouse, and they notice how these women be watching these dudes move stuff around. So it does have a profound impact. It really does. And I still don't think people get it. I mean, it's funny. You have some women who are trying to attack that energy, that masculine energy out here, without realizing it has long-term effects. Because then the same women, they'll get somebody who doesn't have that energy, but then complain about them after a few months. And they'll be like, well, why don't you be a man and stand up? I'm like, shoot, he never developed it. He never had to. All right? Because I'm going to tell you what, and I've done this. Now, some people who've bothered to check my background, they know I'm professional or was a professional. But I've actually worked on jobs where I've done manual labor. And even now, even though I don't need the money now, I've actually thought about just maybe working part-time at a warehouse or something just to stay moving. I definitely go to the gym, but trust me, it's a different type of workout if you lifting boxes and everything, right? Just to stay active and stuff. So, yeah, I would say it has a great impact on it. It has a great impact in life. Right, and I'm not sure what can be done. I mean, we're not going to turn back the clock. Despite what the president may promise, these factories ain't coming back. And then because of everything else going on, it's been real quiet about automation. So I'm not sure. Maybe gyms have to pick up. Maybe that's the big thing. Men have to really get into the gym. Maybe gyms need. I've always said gyms, especially in many neighborhoods, need to be as ubiquitous as a liquor store or a tattoo shop. Because I think men need to really keep that energy going. So anyway, right? That's all I got for now. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace and blessings.